Hey guys, it's Connie. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if you're anything like me, you probably don't want to go out just because of everything going on right now. Whether you're going to be spending it with your significant other, your family, your friends, or maybe just even alone, I have the perfect steak dinner just for you. Alright, so we're going to be making a steak with roasted red potatoes, asparagus, and for dessert we're having creme brulee. It sounds so hard, but I promise it's one of the easiest recipes ever. You cannot go wrong.
You can definitely opt out of making the creme brulee. You just go ahead and skip to the part where we start on the steak. But if you're going to make it, just make sure that you have it ready at least 2 hours in advance. Preferably have it set overnight. You're going to use 4 egg yolks and you're going to mix in a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Once you've whisked it all together, on a pot, you're going to go ahead and add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Make sure it's on medium heat, that way it doesn't boil. Just let it simmer for a bit, and when you start seeing bubbles like that, just go and take it off the heat and let it cool slightly. You don't want to scramble the eggs in the egg mixture, so you're going to go and add a tiny bit of the whipped cream first. You're going to whisk it a little bit and then slowly start incorporating the rest. If you're using 6 or 8 ounce ramekins, this mixture should give you 2 creme brulees, but I personally had the 3.5 ounce, I believe, so I had some leftover mixture. What you're going to do is you're going to transfer that to a cup so you can pour it easier into the ramekins, and then have the ramekins in a water bath.
Have a nice little creme brulee set, like just the custard is nice cold set. Don't take it out of the fridge up until you're about to serve it, just because you want to conserve that freshness. And then you can even do it in front of like the person you're eating with. You do a light layer of granulated sugar and you bust out this bad boy. This right here is a lifesaver. If you do not have a blowtorch, a little kitchen torch, I honestly recommend to buy one. They're not too expensive. I know there are some that can go up to like $30-$40. You don't need to buy one that big. You don't need to buy.
What makes this dessert so cool is that it's just a creamy cold custard in the bottom with a nice crunchy layer of hot caramelized sugar on top. Like, it's that simple, guys, I promise. You're just gonna add a little bit of granulated sugar on top, and you're gonna start torching it just until you melt the sugar into a nice caramel. I know not everyone has a butane torch at home. It's completely understandable. If maybe you don't have the time, you don't have the resources, or you just don't want to get it, I completely understand. Like I said, you can do this in the oven actually. It'll kind of give you the same effect. You're just gonna go ahead and take the ramekin straight out from the fridge, put it in the oven, and then with the broiler on, just wait until it crystallizes.
Just look at this. Do you guys hear that crunch? Look. And then you're just gonna, and then you reveal that nice little custard inside. It's just the best thing in the world, guys. Wow. I definitely recommend this. It's so easy and it's so yummy. There's a whole range of cuts that you can go and choose from. Make sure it's also really thick, about 1 inch thick. You also want to make sure that your steak is dry. There's no excess moisture on it, just because if there's any moisture, it's going to prevent you from searing it correctly. You want to get that nice little crust whenever you're searing it, and then just finish it off whenever you're basting.
You can season your steak with practically anything you want. Personally, I just went with freshly ground pepper and freshly ground salt, just because I wanted most of the flavor to come from the rosemary, the garlic, and the butter. After I seasoned it generously, I went ahead and let it sit in the fridge while I worked on my sides. You know to take your potatoes out whenever you can kind of start putting your fork through them, but they maintain a firm shape. Make sure not to cook them all the way through, just because we're going to finish them off in the oven. With the oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to go ahead and transfer the potatoes over from the boiling water into an oven-safe dish. This is where you're going to go ahead and add some oil so they don't stick to each other or to the pan, and you're going to toss them around with some seasonings. I personally added olive oil, paprika, pepper, salt, a little bit of rosemary, and some garlic cloves. I tossed them around and then I added a few bits of butter on top just to finish it off. While my potatoes were in the oven, I went ahead and I started on my ribeyes. I took my steaks out from the fridge and I put them on a cast iron pan on medium to high heat with olive oil. Right before your steak is ready, remove one from the cast iron pan so you have more room to baste in butter. This is where you add your aromatics. In my case, I use rosemary and garlic, but instead of rosemary, you can use tarragon or thyme. Baste the steak in butter just for a little while before flipping it over and doing it on the other side as well. Make sure not to stay too long doing this just because you don't want to overcook the steak. You're going to go ahead and remove that one and do the same thing with the other steak. When you're done with both, just set them aside and let them rest for at least 5 minutes because you don't want any of the juices to flow out. While you're giving your steak some time to rest, you can go ahead and start plating your sides. I went ahead and I put the roasted red potatoes on there, the steamed vegetables, and I know I said I was going to make asparagus, but I was completely out. I didn't even realize. But that just goes to show that if you don't like any of the sides, you could replace it with whatever you want. It's your dinner. As you can see, the steak is resting right there. I went ahead and I let it sit for around 5-6 minutes before slicing it up and plating it. Guys, it's literally so much food and it's so good. Whoever you make it for will definitely enjoy it. If you make it for yourself, your partner, your friend, whoever, just go ahead and send me a picture, show me how you did, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.